everybody, it's your Sam and I'm here with another video. Today is going to be a video about the collab that Jenna O'Malley, or Jenna the Soul Writer, started. The link to her channel and the playlist that she's going to put up is going to be down below in the description. So what this is basically a list video of what anime, and I'm probably going to add some manga in here too, what anime taught me about writing blank. Today it's going to be about psychological health and psychological awareness. The 5 things that anime taught me about psychological health is very important to me. Every single work that I have written thus far and will continue to write will have some mental health issues that the characters have to deal with. Anime taught me not to sugarcoat it. Series like A Silent Voice and Nana, for instance, are rather dark. They hit hard with mental health. They show us the dark side that we try to hide. Anime never sugarcoats mental health, psychological health. Sometimes it dramatizes it to where it's bigger than life, but they do that in order to kind of teach us that we can get through this, or we need to help others get through this. Nana, for instance, one of the main characters, Nana, deals with panic attacks because she constantly thinks about losing those around her. She also deals with addiction, and yeah, it's rather dark. You show the battle that she goes through on a daily basis. And then Hachi, she has such an inferiority complex that she tries to please everyone, which means that she gets in some of these abusive relationships, and these characters and the other characters in the series deal with self-harm and depression and addiction as well. It is a beautiful anime. It's a beautiful manga too. It's one of my absolute favorites because it just shows how friendship and how loved ones matter and how you can overcome some mental health issues with their help, and you can actually grow yourself. You don't really have to rely on others, but it's good to have somebody at your back. Number 2, anime taught me that characters having psychological issues or diagnoses makes them more relatable, and it gives the reader something to deeply connect with that character. Yeah, everybody can relate to depression. Everybody can relate to social anxiety to some degree or level. They don't see certain aspects of different things that people do. The things that make characters relatable is everywhere in anime. Otherwise, we wouldn't be watching anime. We wouldn't be watching the movies. We wouldn't be reading the books. Animes like Say I Love You shows childhood trauma of friends just using you and leaving, friends using you and leaving you when they're satisfied. And that does cause some trauma. It causes loneliness, it can cause depression, it can cause a lot of self-depreciation and just hating yourself. And Say I Love You shows that character kind of pulling through and realizing that being a loner isn't all that great, and there are good people out there. You just gotta take the time to find them. That's relatable to most of us in some stage of our life, whether you're going through a loner stage right now. Later on, you might find somebody that pulls you out of that stage, and you realize that there's still friendships out there. There's still relationships that you can have. Another anime that I really, really like is A Silent Voice. It's kind of a rough watch for me because it has bullying in it, but it also shows the other side of the story. It actually shows the perspective of the bully. That was new to me, and that was the reason why it kind of was a hard watch for me, because I don't like bullies. Nobody likes bullies. But then he has like a redemption arc. He turns his life around. He becomes bullied, and he realizes how terrible it is. And that gives us hope that our bullies one day will come back to us and be like, hey, I'm sorry for what I caused you to go through. I'm sorry for what I did. That's pretty awesome, right? Another thing to look forward to sometime in life. And that is an amazing thing to watch. It's an amazing thing to read. That in and of itself teaches us that there's different facets to every person. There's different faces that every person shows different people or different situations. And you got to put that into your writing. You got to build your characters with different facets and even some characteristics that you absolutely detest in order to make them more fleshed out, more relatable, and easier to swallow, or easier to watch, or easier to believe for your reader. Number 3, anime taught me to keep pushing forward and never give up. That is pretty much an overarching arc in a lot of the what I call super animes or epic animes. You know, the ones that are well over 100 episodes. Some even going into the thousands. Looking at you, One Piece. But there are characters like Naruto, for instance. It's one of my very favorite animes. To keep going, even though you're knocked down and you're going through the deepest, darkest depression that you have ever had, and you are alone, or you feel alone in this world, there is always a reason to push forward. There's always a reason to keep living. And I like putting that resolve into my characters, whether it's because they've had trauma from somebody not feeling the same way and ending their life, or they feel like they should keep moving forward and keep going for whatever reason it is. In I'm No Hero, Nadasha, my main character, she keeps pushing, she keeps going, even though she knows that there's probably going to be a death at the end of the tunnel that she is pushing herself through. She knows that there is something out there that she has to do. She has to keep going, and for her, that's her family and her friends, her found family. So yeah, the keep pushing forward thing is in a lot of my characters. And number 4, giving the character a magical solution to solve everything isn't always the best thing to do. Yeah. I've had a couple of short stories where I've kind of done that, where there's just a magical thing that appears and all of a sudden the problem that the character faced is resolved. That, yeah, and I didn't show enough struggle with that problem in order to even have remotely satisfying feeling whenever you read that. There are a few animes that I've watched where that's happened, and I just can't. It's annoying in a way, so I do not put that in my writing, or I try not to. In I'm No Hero, there are moments where it seems like that happens, but there's a reason behind it, and you'll have to read to find out, kind of thing. But always show the struggle and the growth that your character goes through with facing those problems, even if you do insert some quick way for that problem to be solved, or it feels quick. Maybe after the problem is resolved, your character goes through a moment of, well, what do I do with myself now? Because there is that moment. Even after you achieve a goal, you're kind of like, okay, well, what now? Right? Right. Anime taught me, number 5, don't shy away from sharing experiences or the darkness or the rough things. Granted, you need to warn people about it. Just make sure that the people know in your writing that they are going to face some traumatic events or some things that might trigger them. So always list those trigger warnings. If you hear snoring, I do apologize. It's Kona. She's sleeping very heavily. But anyway, don't shy away from sharing the experiences that the character has to go through in order to grow, in order to change. It's enlightening to some people and it is relatable to others. It makes your character more believable. It makes your writing more believable. And if it's something that you have experienced yourself, then you know what that feels like. You can share that with your readers. And sometimes that is therapy in and of itself. It helps your psychological health. Honestly, it does. Kind of like journaling does. Writing an experience in a fictional book too can be releasing. That's the 5 things that anime taught me about psychological health or mental health. I hope you enjoyed this video, and like I said, the links are going to be down below to Jenna's channel and hopefully to the playlist as well. Be kind to one another out there. Be kind to yourself. Keep writing, keep being creative, and I'll see you next time.